What's going on, guys? My name is Jonathan Moore. I'm here with Matt Faircloth. We're going to be doing another Chats with Matt.
Bring it on, man.
How you feeling today, first of all?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like a 5 out of 10. I got some unexpected news for the business, but you got to shake it off and keep pumping. So I got that yesterday, and so I'm still putting myself back together because just sometimes you get shocked you get news you didn't expect. You're like, oh, that's not what I wanted to hear, and let's put it back together.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Well, you know what? When it all falls apart, you can put it back together how you want to.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the kind of like the silver lining.
I find that a lot of times when things don't work out the way you want them to, or when they fall apart or whatever, that if you just stay committed to it and stick in there and keep pumping and keep driving and keep moving and don't give up, then you actually end up getting a silver lining.
Right.
Like the things actually get, even though in that crappy moment where it feels really nasty, if you're able to get through that, then there's a point where it gets, you get a reward.
Right.
For staying in it.
Right. Persevering.
Yes.
Perseverance.
There's a reward for perseverance.
So speaking of perseverance, I guess a lot of times I find fascinating reading documentaries because you always want to know the thought process of what's going on with people. And, you have a lot of people who are watching you, giving out a lot of great information. And what would you say to those people, or let me back up, what was going through your mind state when you made the transition from, being a part-time investor to making it your full-time business?
I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Is that a tough question?
No, it's a tough question. Well, it's two things. That was a long time ago. Right?
Okay.
First of all, that was 12 years ago.
Okay.
That I quit my job. And so, dating myself a little bit, but that was a long time ago that I did it. But, I mean, at the time, when I quit my job, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, business-wise. I didn't realize what running a full-time real estate company was going to look like and feel like, or... And that, so I kind of went into it a little loose, like way more loose than I should have. If I had to do it over again, I think that it's important for folks to set really, really clear and tangible, realistic goals on where they want to be and what they need to get where they want to go and everything like that for themselves. Like clear goals with definable succession points and everything like that in there, for themselves when they quit their job.
Well, when you say you went in loose, so what do you mean by that? Like you were just kind of like, I mean, was it like one day you woke up and you're like, you know what, I'm doing this? Or
No. My wife and I planned. I mean, so like the more planful side of it was that my wife and I were like, okay, right after we get married, like my wife and I planned when we were dating that when we got married, we would live off of her income and I would spin off and create the real estate business.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
And so it was a clear planned date. It was like January 1st, 2006.
Okay.
I think. Man, that was a long time ago, huh? So that's when I started. And so it was clear, but the reason why I said we just kind of, rolled into it was I didn't have goals around it. So it was like, what am I going to do today? I think I'll go and look online for multifamily.
Okay,
I think I'll go here. I think I'll do this. I think I'll do that. And I just wasn't directed because I was so used to having a job where somebody was giving me, like action steps and plans and goals, and somebody was telling me what to do. Right. And one of the biggest things of working for yourself is there's nobody telling you what to do.
Right.
And it's funny because that's what people that want to work for themselves think is the best part about it. Nobody telling me what to do. This is great.
Right.
Nobody order me around.
Right.
You know what? That's a double-edged sword. Because when you don't know what to do, it'd be nice to go to somebody and say, hey man, what should I do?
Right. Absolutely.
But if you don't have that person that's the boss or whatever to say like, oh, okay, well, after you do this, then you should do that. Here are your deliverables for the week and everything like that. But working for yourself, you got to figure it out.
Right.
And then you got to put on your big boy or big girl pants to figure it out and to make your plan, and sometimes things don't roll the way you want them to, and you got to be able to shake it off and keep pumping,
Right. So, yeah, absolutely, and I think that's extremely important to realize, and I think people who make that transition into working for themselves, they ultimately realize that,
but you'll figure it out.
Well, you have no choice.
Yeah, but people don't realize what it's like and how much responsibility is on working for yourself.
Right.
You know, and there's great benefits to it. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but now that I know how to do it, now that I'm pretty good at it,
right,
know, like,
right.
yeah, now I wouldn't trade it for anything. But there was a time where I was like, man, what am I gonna do? I don't know. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, let's kind of go into that a little bit. So you probably have a couple people who are, you know, who know your content, and they're also in that stage where, you know, they transition, they're working for themselves. One of the things that I noticed is finding out that one thing, you know, that you're good at. And I know it's kind of hard to narrow it down to that one thing, but what do you think was that one thing for you that kind of helped you really start to double down on your strengths? Right? Because sometimes...
You mean like how did I figure out what the big thing I brought to the table was?
Yeah, because, you know,
That's
like...
a good question.
You know, when you could be all over the place, like you said, you're trying to do everything, and then, you know, you got to step back and realize,
I just love life
hey...
in a lot of ways, and I just wanted to just soak up as much of, you know, business and life and getting to meet people and stuff like that. And so it was just a big old party for me, and all that. But what I realized that my greatness, what you were talking about. Yeah. I took this thing called StrengthsFinder. It's out there by Gallup.
It was a test?
Yeah, there's a book called The StrengthsFinder. Okay. And you take this. I think you gotta pay for it. You take this test. My wife, you know, God bless her, made me take it. Okay. You know, she gets me to do a lot of things like that. But she got me to take the StrengthsFinder assessment, and there's 77 human traits that we have, and we all possess them, but it's the StrengthsFinder helps you determine which ones are your peaks. Okay. Are you the best at, like, and it ranks them. It ranks your 77 after you take this test. And my number one was positivity. Right? Okay. Meaning that I like that. I look at life as pretty good. And even when bad things happen, like I had something bad happen to me yesterday, I'm still like already pretty much over it today. Right. You know? And people that are positive like I am don't give up, because they're gonna keep pushing and trying and figuring it out. They don't get discouraged too easily and stuff like that. The problem with me, with positivity, it's a double-edged sword, right? Okay. Because I also see the good in everything. And I see the good in properties, and I see the good in deals, and I see the good in people. Right. And I'll align with people because I'm like, oh, they're not that bad. And people are like, no, man, that guy's a shyster. What are you talking about? Right, you know, like, what are you aligning with? No, he's actually he's all right. I talked to him. He seems pretty cool. No, he's not bad, but he's got great shoes too, right? Right. Yeah. I find something I like, and I align with that and everything. So it's a double-edged sword. So I found that in discovering what I really bring to the table on both sides of it, and I got it through StrengthsFinder, was what was imperative, because it really enabled me to take things off the plate that I don't do well. Okay. Right. You know, whatever it is. You know, I'm not a high detail. I'm not a get in your face kind of person. I'm not a get in your face like high accountability leader. It's not what I do. I like to use my positivity. I like to pump people up and get them excited. Okay. You know, and motivate. And I can be the gas in their tank to make them want to keep going. That's the leader that I am. Right. There's other leaders that I know out there that are really great at, I hate to say this, but knocking heads and motivating people through accountability, and by being like, you said I was going to be here Thursday and it's not. What are you going to do? Right. And you need a leader like that with contractors. And what I found is that I'm not good with contractors because I'm too damn positive. Okay. Right. You know? Right, oh, you didn't hang on the sheetrock. It's okay. You'll be all right. I'll get it done in a couple of days from now, you know? But, you know, there are people out there that are great at that. And it's funny because when it comes down to, when employees are down, or when people need a little pump up or something like that, they're not the one to do it, you know, because they want to just browbeat them. You know, and I'm like, no, man, I got it. Let me take care of that. Right. You know? So I found in getting to know my strengths is what I found that I should and should not be doing, and what I should be outsourcing to other people. Okay. That's what things like that, and not just the StrengthsFinder, but other assessment tools out there that really give me the tools to look myself in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? Right. Now, when you figured out that your biggest strength was possibility,
right?
Positivity.
Well, you got possibility through positivity.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, right. All right. Yeah. But when you found out that
it was landmark, that's a landmark education thing right there for my viewers. Why that have been a landmark? I've been a landmark too. So you know.
So, you found out that your strength was positivity.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you found that out, what happened? Like, what did you think? You know, did you think like, well, I'm positive. How do I transition that into my business? Yeah, like how did you manage to transition that into your business? Like, in what ways has it really helped you?
It didn't make any sense at first.
Okay.
I was like, oh, I guess that's just validating and makes me feel pretty good about myself and all that. Because I say it's all good all the time. It's one of my favorite phrases. All good. It's all good.
Right,
it's
yeah.
all good. But you know what? It is all good.
Right.
And I realized that I actually believe that it is all good. If you look at things long enough, you know. But what it eventually, after really reflecting on it and reading the book that came with the Strengths Finder and everything like that, it got me in tune with tools that I can use. It got me in tune with skills that positivity brings to the table that I can implement. And there were other Strengths Finder things too that I forget off the top of my head. But my wife and I, my wife used to work in the space of human personality development and on, putting the right people in the right places. So she helped me with that assessment, determine where I ought to be and where I don't need to be in my business.
Okay.
So what I should delegate and what I shouldn't.
Man, that's pretty cool then.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to check that out. That's Strength Finder. That's online, or that was a book you said?
Yeah, it's a book.
Or can you find it online?
It's a book. Oh, of course, you can find anything online. Yeah, but I think you can find it on Amazon. And in the book, I believe there is a link to take the test, and you gotta pay to take the test, I believe.
Okay.
And they pay. The more you pay them, the more of your hierarchy of strengths they'll give you. Like if it's a smaller fee, they'll tell you like your top 3. But if you pay more money, they'll give you like your top 20.
Okay.
Which, I forget what I did.
Okay. All right. So you're a positive guy.
Yeah.
That's your strength.
According to Strengths Finder, I am.
According to Strengths Finder, you are. All right. So let me ask you this: what was your scariest deal that you've ever done? And then how did positivity bring you out on the other side?
Positivity always brings you out when you do things that are scary, because I firmly believe that things are all good, and that if things feel funny or feel fearful or feel scary or whatever it is, that that's only temporary, and that's just the way that it goes. Right. And I've learned to deal with fear. I've learned that, not just through positivity, but just learned to be in a business for long enough, learn that fear is just something that's there.
Yeah, how do you overcome that?
You don't. Well, here's the dirty little secret. Fear doesn't go away. I've been doing this for 12 years. Fear does not go away. It doesn't stop. It doesn't dissipate. And people are like, "Oh, I'm just too afraid to take action." It's BS. You got to just take action. That's how you make fear dissolve. Is you take action. And you start doing things, and fear will start to make more sense, and it will start to unwind, and it will start to get smaller. And then you find something else to be afraid of. Right. You're afraid of this tenant not paying the rent. Okay, we'll take action. File eviction. Put one foot in front of the other. Call the tenant. Whatever. Get into conversation. Do something. And then that dissolves. And the next thing comes up that you're going to be fearful about,
Yeah.
But most of the deals that I do have a certain amount of fear woven into them. But I, put a microscope on them, and I figure them out, and I collect as much data as I can, and I keep collecting data. I keep moving forward and taking motions, and I find that, eventually it starts to make sense, and and I'll still do it, even though there's a little twinge of fear in there. I'll still move forward and take action.
Is there a